Okay, in this video we're checking out the Hawkeye Firefly Fortress micro FPV camera. This is their sort of competitor to a lot of the other micro FPV cameras out there, like the ones from Caddx and RunCam, Foxeer. It's a 19mm width here, although it's kind of an unusual case. It's a little bit taller than it is wide, so it will fit probably most frames. It's got nice little screw holes on the side here. This plastic case is this little lens protector there is removable. This is a very unusual case here. Obviously, you get these two screw holes in the back because it does include this transmitter, and you can see there's two screw holes on the transmitter, and this goes in the back here like so. And you just use some screws to screw that on. Now, getting this backpack on here, as you can see, is kind of tight. So I didn't actually use this because I think you're going to need some spacers here to allow the other end of the connector to plugs in right here, and then the other two pin connectors for the OSD controller cable right here. So obviously you can get in here and change your settings. I'll show you that here in a minute. But it comes as a set. Well, it came to me as a set like this with the camera and this backpack transmitter that goes in the back here. The transmitter is 0, 25 to I think 200 milliwatts max. It's only button switchable. There's no VTX remote control. The power input range on the camera is 5 to 36 volts, and I believe the power input range on the video transmitter is also the same. Comes with a MMCX connector here, and this little whip antenna is included. Obviously, you can swap that out for any antenna that has an MMCX connector. Yeah, so it was an okay video transmitter. I would say any better or worse than any other typical micro video transmitter out there that is 200 milliwatts. Obviously, I didn't do any further testing in terms of seeing if it was actually 200 milliwatts because I don't have one of those power RF tester things, at least yet. I will have one eventually. But I thought it worked okay. And in terms of capturing the video footage off the camera, I did end up putting this into my normal micro camera setup for recording the video directly onto onboard DVR, so you'll be able to compare this camera directly to all the other FPV camera reviews that I've done. There's a lot of them, so go to the corner here for the videos. There's going to be a playlist, a whole bunch of them, and I fly all of these at the same park, so you want to see how this image compares to other popular FPV cameras. You can do that by just going to the other videos and watching the flights and looking for approximately the same area that I'm flying, and compare the images side by side in your browsers if you want to do the side-by-side comparisons, because there's just so many out there. I always get asked, oh, can you compare this to the Microswift or the Arrow or the Predator or the Micro Monster? You can see where that's going. I would have to make exponential a number of videos to do all those side-by-side comparisons, so it would just be easier for you guys to just do those comparisons yourself if you just watch the video footage at the end of this video compared to the other videos that I've already done. So that's why I've done all the reviews the same way, so you should be able to get comparable footage if you need to do some comparisons. Now, specs on the camera, of course, it's a CMOS sensor, NTSC PAL switchable, 43169 switchable. The sensor is only 960 TV lines, I believe, and it's got an M8 lens, so it's pretty typical micro camera specs. So and the image I think looked pretty typical. It kind of reminded me of probably the Micro F1 from Caddx. I think would be the closest, or perhaps the SDR1, something of that range, or maybe the Venus Pro from FXT, something like that. Obviously, opinions will vary out there because the way people look at these FPV images is very subjective. So you can make that decision on your own when you look at the footage at the end. But yeah, I'll go ahead, I'll plug this in, and you guys can look at the settings if there's any, if you're curious as to what settings you can change. I believe the menu, the firmware in here is pretty similar to one of the FXT cameras, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we'll go ahead and plug in the camera, and we get this nice splash screen. Go ahead and bring up the menu. And this is the menu. You can see the choices here. FPV setup. I think that's for the on-screen display. You turn those things off. If you want, let me just go back and I'll show you Let's exit out of here. And just the on-screen display, you got your voltage reading here, 7.6 volts. You got your power on time, and you got this little horizon bar. So for the demo, I just turned all those off. So if you bring up the menu, you can go into FPV setup and turn all of those off. I think that horizontal line is called scale mark. And then the next menu item here is called exposure. So I left all these as defaults as they float around. So you can obviously fiddle with all these if you want to improve the image to your liking. There's image setup here. Here you can change color gain, mirror, and then there's settings for gamma, sharpness, automatic white balance, and AGC. I think it's automatic gain control. Obviously, typical settings here that you can change. And here under function setup, you can change this from PAL to NTSC and 16.943. So I believe the default is 16.9. So that's the recording that I made. It was in the 16.9 mode. And I'm not 100% sure if the sensor is 16.9 or 4.3. Let me just, I did check this earlier, but it wasn't conclusive to me before. I'll just show you. So here we're looking at I'm just looking at basically the wall over there, and you can see over here on the right hand side you got this bookshelf, and on the left you got this light over here. The bottom is the top of the desk, and the top over here is this ceiling fan light. So if I switch this to 4.3 mode, it does kind of look like it's cropping the sides. So like the light over here disappeared, but the vertical field of view still looks about the same. So I don't know, what do you guys think? So if that's the case, then it would mean that the native sensor on here is a 16.9, and they're cropping it down to a 4.3 image for the 4.3 setting here to get you that mode. So you would basically you just lose the left and the right sides of the image that the sensor's picking up to get it into a 4.3 mode. So that's probably what my conclusion is, but I'm not 100% sure on that if there's other things going on, but that's what it looks like to me. Anyway, we'll go back to 16.9, and we'll go and exit out of here. Anyway, yeah, so I did just fly this with the default settings. Obviously, you could probably tweak it to find some better settings. I probably would reduce sharpness. It's typical with a lot of these CMOS cameras, sharpness is probably a little bit too high, and I think this is also the case for this one. So obviously you could go in here and change it to your liking, but as I do with all the reviews, I just for the stock settings that come out of the box, that's exactly how I fly it, and that's exactly what you're going to see. So I'll go ahead and I'll roll you the flight demo now.